BSdiscover. I'm here with another reaction video. This time, this video has to do with Georgia gang arrests. I helped some people and had ties in Georgia when it came to rapping, and we're learning how, a lot of rappers were ex-gang members, and they are changing their lives for better and telling their story along the way. So I want you to come dig deep inside with me, and let's get to this video. What is your reaction? Keep it in mind, keep it intact. We're going to figure out why it's so hard for them to get from point A to point B.
Service announcement right here, straight to the point.
Only Channel 2 was there as the FBI raided a Marietta apartment complex as they picked up 30 of 32 alleged gang members. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the gangster disciples used charitable organizations as fronts for their illegal activity. And according to the indictment, Vancito Gums bragged that he was a hitman for the organization.
Former officer Vancito Gums, he worked as a self-professed hitman for the gang while serving on the DeKalb County Police Force. All 5 men were convicted on charges including racketeering. Deputies in Cherokee County say they've arrested a member of the Gangster Disciples street gang. The Cherokee County Sheriff's Office tells us Hayden Shaw is accused of firing a gun at a gas station in Acton, Georgia.
District Attorney Fonnie Willis on a 94-page indictment spelling out 220 charges against 26 people alleged to be involved with the drug-rich gang.
They use things like prescription bottles and money symbols, and this is in their jewelry and their tattoos, and we see that present here.
Former Atlanta Falcon is charged in a major human trafficking bust in Gwinnett County. The operation is tied to some of the biggest gangs in the country. A grand jury has charged 8 people, including the ex-player Eric Johnson, with trafficking women for sexual servitude, terrorism, and kidnapping.
Police say they've dismantled a dangerous street gang in Gwinnett County.
That's right. 2 gang bosses, along with several other more gang members, are behind bars tonight.
Since January, Gwinnett County police have arrested more than a dozen members of the 59 Brims.
A gang shootout on neighborhood streets. Now police are cracking down. They've arrested 10 people on 70 felony charges.
Since January, Gwinnett County police have arrested more than a dozen members of the 59 Brims Blood Street Gang, including 29-year-old Wanawan Wanzon, the alleged leader of the Atlanta branch of the gang, and Marlon Smith, the so-called leader of the gang branch in Virginia, North Carolina.
The leader of a serial armed robbery crew has been sentenced to life in prison after violent restaurant robberies across Gwinnett County, all happening in 2017. Demetria Sims was given 4 consecutive life sentences plus 90
Story tonight at 11, the founder of the Mafia criminal street gang in Middle Georgia was sentenced to the maximum prison term allowed by law for illegally possessing a firearm. 45-year-old Alfonso Clyde will spend the next 15 years behind bars, followed by 3 years of probation.
Officials say there are about 70,000 gang members in the state of Georgia, and they say most of the violent crimes and crimes that involve property are committed by suspects associated with some of these local gangs.
It happened around 2 a.m. at Wings Cafe on Bloomfield Drive. According to a news release, a fight broke out at a club, and then during the fight, 2 people were fatally shot.
The County Sheriff's Office is looking for 3 men wanted in an early morning armed robbery. Deputies say the men robbed the Waffle House on Chambers Road around 5 this morning.
Wow. Well, this is a reaction video that I'm doing on this video, Georgia gang arrests. I'm trying to get some feedback from the person who produced the video. So far, we're getting news coverage. And the only thing with new coverage, you may get the accuracy, you may not. The final details of what truly happened comes out when they go to court. But my reaction can only begin when I begin to get feedback or get a little more from this video. But right now, I just want to enlighten you on why I chose this video, because there's a huge concern about what actually is going on, why all of a sudden gangs are getting arrested, cartel people are getting arrested who help support these gangs some way, shape, or form. What is going on? What is the actual happening behind the scene? Why now? Why now, 2026? When all this time gangs has been around us, it was never an issue. Why now? Why all of these exposures we are unaware of? I was unaware that I heard that police may be somehow in pockets, but now through the new media, the news media itself, we are learning that gang members could possibly have the police involved in what they do. But there's always two sides to a story. And we will never know the true side. We will only know what is shown to us. So this is why this video and this reaction of what's going on. So let's see if we get a little human feedback. Stay with me.
County Sheriff David Davis held a news conference announcing the arrest of 33 people in Macon Bibb.
They've had an operation going on through the month of October, all the way up through last week, called Operation Hidden Eye.
The attack was in retaliation for the rapper entering a rival gang's territory to film a music video.
In the subsequent days, we saw homicides and shootings, and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions, and you know who you are.
Authorities say a high-ranking member of the Goodfellas gang who was incarcerated orchestrated the attack using a smuggled cell phone.
Cobb and Clayton County investigators and the FBI say they got these 20 dangerous gang members off the streets.
Hey, my app's showing a shorter route.
Yeah, but there's a lot of traffic that way this time of night. This one's faster.
Just drive. I didn't ask for an explanation. Marcus, I really value your work. You're reliable, you're dedicated, but the company is moving in a new direction.
They're facing a laundry list of felony charges.
It may seem like I'm trying to help Doug out. I'm not trying to help him out. I don't care nothing about him, what he got going on, nothing. I care about the truth. The truth was, I was going through a phase in my life, and I have put all the blame on him. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he got going on. But y'all got me on the stand, and I'm telling the God and His truth. Leave me out of this.
Georgia, the Peach State, home to one of the busiest airports on Earth, a booming film industry, and a capital city that became the beating heart of American hip-hop. But underneath that success story runs a different Georgia. One investigators have been fighting from the suburbs of Gwinnett County to the streets of Macon. From Atlanta's recording studios to the housing complexes where entire crews put down roots. This isn't the story of one gang or one city. It's a journey across the whole state. From the massive RICO case that put Young Thug and YSL at the center of a national debate, to the Piru Bloods who carried a Compton street name all the way into the Deep South. From the 56 gang and drug-rich empires hidden behind suburban shopping centers, to La Gran Familia's military-style syndicate, to the gangster disciples who turned Chicago roots into a Georgia stronghold. From rolling 60s Crips to 5'9" Brims Bloods. From the Lotto gang to the leaders who ran it all until the indictments came down. And on the other side of every one of these stories, the FBI, the sheriff's offices, the district attorneys, and the task forces building cases through wiretaps, ballistics, and Georgia's powerful gang and RICO laws. Operation Tourniquet, Operation Hidden Eye, Operation Clean House, indictment after indictment, arrest after arrest, a relentless back and forth between the people running these networks and the people working to dismantle them. We're going to take you case by case, crew by crew, the rise, the crimes, the courtroom drama, and the sentences that followed. Some of these cases ended in life without parole. Some turned into the longest trials in Georgia history, and some are still unfolding right now. As always, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This is Georgia's gang landscape exposed. Let's get into it.
Developments in the gang crackdown involving rapper Young Thug. Police arrested more than 24 people, including the artist, and accused them of running a violent gang.
Just days ago, Cordarius Dorsey, also known as YSL Polo, was making some unusual hand gestures in court. On Friday, Young Thug's attorney filed a motion to sever from Dorsey, claiming his behavior could negatively impact Young Thug's chance for a fair trial. Well, the motion reads that Mr. Dorsey displayed unprofessional and unacceptable conduct in the courtroom on Thursday, August 31st. Legal expert Daryl Cohen says this move could both extend and shorten the criminal proceeding.
Live is tracking a growing list of defendants now taking plea deals in the case.
As the calendar ticks closer to a trial, the list of defendants taking plea deals in the high-profile YSL case continues to grow. Last week, Sergio Kitchens, better known as rapper Gunna, took the first plea deal, followed by Walter Murphy, an alleged YSL co-founder. Then Winnie Lee, rapper Slime Life Shawty, and Martinez Arnold, rap name Little Duke, cut deals. Now Quantavious Greer, or rapper Un Funk, entered a guilty plea. All 5 have been sentenced to between 9 and 10 years on probation.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what number in years are you?
I plead the fifth. I take full responsibility for, my crimes or my charges. I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids.
Better known as Young Thug, on probation yesterday. So he's on his way home to Los Angeles. 3 other defendants pleaded guilty this week in exchange for shorter prison sentences. So they're done with trial as well. That leaves just Diamante Kendrick, Shannon Stillwell, their teams, and the state in the courtroom. Former DeKalb County District Attorney Robert James says that's tough to explain to jurors who were sworn in a year ago today.
Atlanta rap star Jeffrey. Young Thug Williams was the founder of Young Slime Life, a collective that prosecutors said functioned as a violent street gang in southeast Atlanta beginning around 2012. Authorities linked YSL to deletions.
Wow. I mean, the gangs are able to at least, present themselves in the courtroom. And no matter what is said about them, nobody would ever truly know the circumstances. But we get what we get. And this is what I like about when I do video reactions, because my reaction before I even played the video was what's going on in Atlanta. Why all of a sudden, once again, the gangs are being railroaded into going to court and either snitching on each other, doing plea bargains. Some plea bargains are done in which somebody may tell on somebody. That's what a plea bargain is. What are you going to give us in order to leave out of jail or not serve a long amount of time? Most of them got about, 10 years? I know a lot of people was looking at Young Thug. I mean, I was on this, that when I saw this video, let me go back and say, I supposed to have done the retake, but I wanted to make sure I hear from certain rappers that I know who possibly came from Georgia, who was around me. And they escalated here all the way. I'm in New York, to New York now, and Florida. So you can see how they have the opportunity to travel from state to state and make money. And be in a rap game, but it's just not rappers who go through. There's other people who do things and they end up in court. But a lot of people don't pay attention to them or even give them that acknowledgement, because nobody will truly know why it was done. All we could try to do is try to understand. Let's say that again. All we could try to want to do is try to understand. So right now, my reaction, I don't know what yours is, but if I can get this video through without any copy strikes, you will definitely see it. But I'm shocked The gentleman did not want to tell his age, which would have been interesting for us to know. How old are you? That's how you would know how long he possibly been in the game, or the influence of the age that could be upon our gang members. But like I said, unfortunately, you don't know the situation. So I'm not here to judge. I'm here to take in knowledge, so that if I do come across somebody, if it can be that I can help you, then let it be. But I can't understand if I don't get full knowledge. So just as they looking at the rappers, I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking at the cops. Come on, let's see this video.
Armed robberies and drug trafficking, framing the group as a criminal enterprise. In May 2022, a Fulton County grand jury unsealed a 65-count RICO indictment against Young Thug and 27 associates. Prosecutors alleged that Williams co-founded and led the gang, while many of his co-defendants were charged with racketeering, gun violations, and murder in aid of racketeering. After a lengthy legal process, Young Thug accepted an Alford plea in October 2024, admitting no guilt, but accepting a conviction for gang, drug, and firearm charges. He was sentenced to 40 years, with 5 years as time served and 15 years on probation. He was released the same day under strict conditions, including a ban on firearms and gang associations. Several other YSL defendants also took plea deals and took the stand, receiving probation and time-served sentences. By 2025, only 2 defendants from the original case remained on trial, with verdicts still pending as of mid-year. The YSL indictment became one of Georgia's most high-profile RICO cases, highlighting the overlap between the music industry and organized street crime, and marking a major moment in the state's aggressive anti-gang enforcement.
7 people with the...
2 13-year-olds were innocent victims caught in a gang retaliation shooting while celebrating a birthday.
The overall theme of this case is grown men playing gangster.
Was wounded last July in a shooting on Spark Street. Investigators blamed the deadly shooting on a local rapper. They said the attack was in retaliation for the rapper entering a rival gang's territory to film a music video.
In the subsequent days, we saw homicides and shootings, and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions, and you know who you are.
Authorities say a high-ranking member of the Goodfellas gang who was incarcerated orchestrated the attack using a smuggled cell phone.
In March 2025, a federal grand jury in the Northern District of Georgia unsealed charges against 8 members and associates of the Atlanta-based gang known as the Goodfellas. Prosecutors described the group as a violent criminal enterprise that recruits from local neighborhoods and jail populations. The indictment is part of an ongoing federal crackdown on organized gang activity in the Atlanta metro area. The Goodfellas were tied to several high-profile shootings. In February 2021, members allegedly opened fire at an Atlanta gas station, targeting rival gang members and wounding a responding police officer. The group is also linked to a deadly July 2024 triple shooting that deleted 2 teenagers, and a November 2024 plot to delete correctional officers inside the Fulton County Jail. In March 2024, Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr announced the indictment of 3 alleged members of the PDE gang, also known as Paradise East, or paper drugs extortion on state gang and weapons charges. The gang is named after the Paradise East apartment complex in southeast Atlanta and is known to use the tag 4 Leaders. Investigators say PD originated in Atlanta but has ties to the Sex Money Bloods gang out of New York. The defendants, ranging in age from 17 to 32, were indicted under Georgia Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act following an Atlanta Police Department investigation. The charges include illegal firearm possession and gang activity. One of the suspects, a convicted felon, was allegedly caught with a machine gun and illegal drugs. While no deletions were linked to PDE in this case, prosecutors emphasized that the indictments were part of a broader effort to disrupt gang-related violence and remove illegal weapons from Atlanta neighborhoods. The case is being prosecuted at the state level, and all 3 defendants await trial as of 2025.
Sandy Springs Police confirming to Channel 2 Action tonight about the investigation.
Attorney General Chris Carr announced that the Georgia Gang Prosecution Unit has secured a 52-count indictment in Fulton County against 3 individuals, Shaquille Bell, Contrellis Brooks, and Marcus Thornton, on charges related to gang activity, narcotics trafficking, and firearms offenses. The defendants are accused of violating the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act, as well as trafficking drugs with intent to distribute and unlawfully possessing firearms during the commission of felonies. According to the indictment, all 3 individuals were allegedly involved in criminal activity while affiliated with the Rolling 60s Neighborhood Crips, a well-known street gang that originated in Los Angeles and has since established a significant presence throughout Atlanta. The charges stem from Operation Heatwave, a summer-long law enforcement initiative led by the Atlanta Police Department. Now in its 2nd year, Operation Heatwave is a collaborative effort among local, state, and federal agencies to reduce violent crime by targeting gangs, illegal firearms, and drug distribution networks in Atlanta's most violence-prone neighborhoods. Operation Heatwave's 16-week enforcement effort led to a total of 96 arrests, including 41 suspected gang members, and the recovery of 62 firearms. The Gang Prosecution Unit presented evidence to a Fulton County grand jury, leading to the indictment of Bell, Brooks, and Thornton on August 31, 2023.
A gang shootout on neighborhood streets. Now police are cracking down. They've arrested 10 people on 70 felony charges.
You can see the bullet holes still in the garage at this house. If you look up, there's a bullet hole still in the window. Neighbors tell me they ducked for cover as this house was targeted. But even as the suspects were running out, a completely innocent family had their house shot up as well. Now there is relief that police have 10 people in custody.
Shock that this went like this over here.
A shooting that Gwinnett County police say was gang-related still has neighbors in this Buford community rattled and upset.
An ongoing investigation into a series of gang-related shootings in Gwinnett County has resulted in the arrest of 10 individuals and the issuance of multiple warrants. The probe began when Gwinnett County police responded to a shots-fired call on Brookdale Drive in Buford, Georgia, where several homes had been struck by gunfire. Investigators determined the incident stemmed from a gang dispute. Days later, 18-year-old Kamani Semi Rhodes, who had been a victim in the Brookdale Drive shooting, spotted someone he believed was behind the attack. Police say Rhodes and 19-year-old Willie Taylor opened fire from their vehicle as they passed the alleged suspect's car. Following both shootings, officers arrested 6 suspects and later identified 4 more individuals connected to a series of gang-related crimes. The suspects, all between the ages of 16 and 20, face charges ranging from aggravated assault and armed robbery to participation in criminal street gang activity.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis on a 94-page indictment spelling out 220 charges against 26 people alleged to be involved with the drug-rich gang.
They use things like prescription bottles and money symbols, and this is in their jewelry and their tattoos, and we see that present here.
Investigators say the gang started in DeKalb County in 2016, but has branched out across metro Atlanta, committing crimes like shootings, home invasions, and burglaries. Their 16 targets include Atlanta celebrities, athletes, and influencers who all post their possessions on social media.
They're immediately going to closets. They're immediately going to bedrooms. They know where these high-end items are.
According to this indictment from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, investigators used rap lyrics and social media to track down some of the gang members. Last week, Sandy Springs police announced the arrest of 3 people in Florida tied to the drug-rich gang. Sergeant Matt McGinnis says gang members are not stopping there.
In January 2023, Gwinnett County authorities unsealed a sweeping 210-count RICO indictment that sent shockwaves through metro Atlanta's law enforcement and criminal justice community. The case targeted 2 violent and interconnected street gangs, the 56 Gang, and the drug-rich crew responsible for a disturbing pattern of violence, retaliation, and organized crime stretching back to at least 2021. The investigation, which began after a deadly shooting in Duluth, would uncover a ruthless criminal enterprise built on fear, drugs, and gunfire, and culminate in the arrest of 25 individuals, with one fugitive still at large. The investigation began in earnest after the August 2021 deletion of Jeremiah Preto, who was shot and met his demise on Boggs Road in Duluth, Georgia. Authorities say Preto was lured to the location by members of the 56 gang, ambushed, and executed in a planned hit. His murder wasn't random. It was part of a broader power struggle between the 56 gang and rival sets, particularly a faction known as the Blitz. The demise became the centerpiece of the indictment and revealed the gang's use of calculated violence to eliminate perceived enemies and assert control over their territory.
Wow, gang related all the way to Florida, New York City. I was just telling you how the rappers travel, and one thing I've learned, and that's why I really wanted to make sure you see this video, because everybody is affected by the ins and the outs of everyday life. Why people make certain choices, we'll never know. Now, I know some may make a choice for their safety, but maybe out of all of this, the community or the police can come up with ways of protecting children who are forced to be in these gangs. Because not everybody wants to join. Some people have no choice. Their families threatened. As you can see, the house shot up. The bullets right there on the garage door. And these are witnesses. Can you imagine innocent people living in the community, innocent children? So whenever you are in alignment of being close to these people, what are you going to do? You may notice something and find yourself falling back from helping them. Because whatever you notice, something good is not going to come of it. So you have to rely on the community helping them in other ways. This is a way. For most of them, this is the way of getting caught and having the opportunity to change their life around. 10 years, if you listen to most of the people who are leaving after being caught, Young Thug or whoever, just 10 years. After a plea bargain, which means they tell you not to snitch, but yet they are willing to snitch. And they often kill snitchers, but for some reason they can snitch and get away and still possibly have to worry about what's going to go on. It's not the snitching that we're talking about. It is basically, it's a two-way street. You say you don't want nobody to snitch, but yet you're willing to snitch to get off. What is your reaction to that? What do you think about that? What makes you wonder what made them snitch? What made them take the plea bargain? Because we don't plea bargain and say, you give me more money, my time is cut. No, you have to give the prosecutor something. Not just what you did, but others involved. So, is the snitcher the wrong person, or is the one who's involved getting the time off? See, the snitcher may lose their life. They get time off. And they may end up losing their life. I don't know. But what we know, we're trying to figure out why at this particular time is there such a rush on game so quickly? What is the outcome? What's truly going on behind the scenes? As time go on, we will see where they will end up. And then we'll know what's truly going on behind the scene. But right now, let's get into this video.
Demise. Members of 56 and Drug Rich were tied to multiple attempted deletions. Investigators detailed several incidents where gang members fired into occupied vehicles and homes, targeting rival gang members and even civilians caught in the crossfire. These shootings were often planned in group chats or during in-person meetups, with designated drivers, shooters, and lookouts. One attempted shooting involved a car chase and shootout in a residential neighborhood, putting dozens of lives at risk. Another targeted a rival who had allegedly posted disrespectful messages on social media, resulting in a high-speed pursuit and gunfire exchanged in broad daylight. The gangs didn't survive solely on drug profits. They also engaged in violent armed robberies and carjackings, often using the proceeds to purchase firearms, drugs, or fund music videos used for gang promotion. Victims were frequently robbed at gunpoint for their vehicles, phones, or cash.
Incident. The impact of the shooting extended beyond the immediate loss of life, prompting widespread discussions about the safety of local establishments and the adequacy of security measures. In response to the tragedy, the widow of one victim filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Wings Cafe and its owner, alleging negligence in providing sufficient security, a lawsuit that was settled confidentially in 2015.
At around 1:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, the Bibb County Sheriff's Office responded to calls of shots fired near the shop. Danny Causey was pronounced at the scene, and another man, Terry Warren, was taken to the hospital and treated for gunshot wounds. People posting concerns to the 13 WMAZ Facebook page saying things like they're not surprised about any dead bodies, or that they wouldn't come near downtown without a tank, posting memes about wearing bulletproof vests. Lieutenant Sean Defoe with the Bibb County Sheriff's Office says that the shooting that happened here on Sunday morning marks the 37th in Bibb County so far this year, but the first one in downtown Macon.
Home. Deputies found Ann Leonard shot in her kitchen. After forcing entry into her home, deputies were called to her Vining Circle home for a welfare check. Bibb County Deputy Coroner Lonnie Miley pronounced Leonard around 8:25 this evening. Sergeant Clay Williams says a bullet came through the window in the back of Leonard's home, hitting her somewhere on her body. Leonard's body was discovered a street away from where deputies responded to a fatal shooting overnight. Now police are investigating if those two shootings are related. Around 2:30 this morning, deputies responded to a shooting on Mason Street. Bibb County deputies say someone shot Marlon Williams. His body was found in the road with a gunshot wound to the chest.
I'm standing outside of the Jafari Food Court on Anthony Road, right where Marlon Williams was shot and killed inside back in April. District Attorney David Cook says he believes that murder is connected to the illegal use of gambling machines inside the store.
Marlon Williams was inside the Jafari Food Court on Anthony Road, April 14th, 2018, when a robber came in. Williams was fatally shot as he ran away.
District Attorney David Cook says that murder is an example of how illegal gambling at stores like this breeds crime.
4 men were indicted Tuesday in connection with multiple. Jeffrey Hunter Jr., 26 Akalin Devin Johnson, 24, and Jadarius Trianta Meadows Jr., 22, all residents of Macon, are charged with malice deletion, felony deletion, and 2 counts of aggravated assault in relation to the early morning shooting on December 16, 2018. That incident resulted in the fatal shooting of 33-year-old Danny Causey and the wounding of another man behind Raffield Tire Master on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in downtown Macon. In addition, Johnson and Meadows face 3 extra counts of aggravated assault for allegedly firing shots at 3 other individuals, while Hunter is charged with 4 counts of violating Georgia's Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act, and both Johnson and Meadows are charged with 6 counts under the Gang Act. In another indictment, Johnson and 24-year-old Devante Legerian Lundy have been charged with offenses stemming from an April 14, 2018 incident at Jaffrey's Food Court on Anthony Road. They face 1 count of malice deletion, 4 counts of felony deletion, 1 count of armed robbery, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and 8 counts of violating the Gang Act.
Service announcement right here, straight to the point.
Only Channel 2 was there as the FBI raided a Marietta apartment complex as they picked up.
You know what? I know you're looking at this and you're saying they get what they deserve. But if you're a wise person, your thoughts are going, what would make them do this? What in society that they are lacking, that may be lacking them, that the choices was to go and rob? Besides the fact that someone can be forced to do something, besides the fact that we are dealing with environmental issues, racism, poverty, education level is not being exceeded like it used to be, the knowledge for it. Choices of protecting oneself when I cannot be protected. And as much as you may look at it, and I know you're going to be negative in your thinking and in your ways. But if this can happen in the rap society, if it can happen in the entertainment society, if it can happen in our own government, everything that is going on, we see violence, we see bullets, we see changes. And what I'm trying to understand and figure out in this video, why are we here? What can you give of yourself? We're not looking at this video to attack. We're looking at this video to learn. Now, there has been many, and there will be many that walk away and make a drastic change in their life. So I don't want you just to get this information, but get the information of hope. Change. But without knowledge, without rehabilitation, where will we be? I'm not here to judge. I'm here to find out. And I want you to think in that way. Just the other day, I was asking about the Rich Gang from some rappers like Rich Homie Quan, RIP, and other people that we know of that represent certain areas and certain gangs and certain people who also came from Georgia, did a lot of rapping in Georgia, who also lost his life. Who a lot of people felt that was changing his life. But sometimes they don't get to change completely. In this video, and everyone who's in this video, whether it comes from the cop, the sheriff, the judge, the lawyer, the eyewitness people, the news media, the media. Not one person really know the true effect of why, but what is innate in that person. Like they said, at the age, I think one of the persons tried to get somebody at the age of 5 years old to start street gang signs. But listen, this is what they've been taught. You're living in poverty. This is all you know. This is all they see every day. This is the only way to live. This is the only way to eat. This is what they've been told. But you're looking at this video to say, we can make a difference.
2021. Kenneth Copeland, known in Atlanta circles as Lil Woody, gets pulled over in a routine traffic stop. The kind of stop that happens 1,000 times a day in this city. Except this time, police find a weapon in the car, and Copeland is a convicted felon. Under federal law, a convicted felon in possession of a firearm is a mandatory federal beef. He's looking at 10 years minimum, maybe more. His life as he knew it was essentially over unless he figured something out fast. So he made the phone call. He became an informant. What prosecutors didn't advertise at the time, what would only come out fully during the trial itself, is that Lil Woody had actually been talking to Atlanta police detectives since 2015, years before his own arrest. Somewhere around the time of the 2015 deletion connected to the YSL orbit, Lil Woody sat down for recorded interviews and gave investigators detailed accounts of crimes he claimed were committed by Young Thug and his associates. He talked about shootings. He talked about drug operations. He gave detectives names, dates, and details that sounded credible enough to be built upon. But here's what nobody outside those interrogation rooms knew yet. According to Lil Woody himself, he made a significant portion of it up. He was using those interviews as a survival mechanism, feeding investigators stories to keep the heat off himself. And in 2021, when he got jammed up again, that same playbook came back out. He got an immunity deal. His weapon charges disappeared. In exchange, full cooperation with the YSL RICO investigation.
This is video from court of Young Thug in a blue jumpsuit. The rapper and 28 other defendants charged in a 56-count indictment alleging street gang activity, including robbery and murder.
Hip-hop superstar and Atlanta native Young Thug making an appearance in a Fulton County courtroom Tuesday. His first appearance in front of a judge comes less than 24 hours after authorities raided the rapper's Buckhead home. Channel 2 was the only station there Monday as investigators arrested the 30-year-old. Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, is one of 28 defendants charged in a sweeping 56-count indictment against the criminal street gang Young Slime Life, also known as YSL. The charges ranging from conspiracy to violate the Georgia criminal racketing law, murder, armed robbery, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, also named Sergio Kitchens, who performs under the name Gunna. As of Tuesday afternoon, the rap star had not yet surrendered to authorities.
My number one focus is targeting gangs, and there's a reason for that. They are committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all of the violent crime that we are seeing within our community.
According to the indictment, YSL is a criminal street gang started in late 2012 in the Cleveland Avenue area of Atlanta. Prosecutors say Young Thug is a co-founder, and he and his affiliates have played a role in some of the city's most violent crimes.
Me and the mayor and the police chief have talked about the fact that Cleveland in our community is referred to as Bleveland.
Also named in the indictment is Jimmy Carlton Winfrey. He's serving a 20-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to firing shots in rapper Lil Wayne's tour buses as they traveled on I-285 in April of 2015.
Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie told you the indictment describes a criminal gang called YSL, which stands for Young Slime Life. Mark reported that the indictment alleges Young Thug is one of 3 YSL founders. Prosecutors also told Channel 2 one of the defendants named in the indictment is this man, Christian Eppinger. He's the same man accused of shooting Atlanta police officer David Rogers 6 times in February.
May 9th, 2022. Young Thug was at a friend's house in Buckhead when police showed up and arrested him on a 56-count RICO indictment, one of the largest gang prosecutions in Georgia state history. 27 co-defendants were swept up with him. The charges included conspiracy to violate Georgia's RICO Act, criminal street gang activity, drug trafficking, multiple deletions, armed robbery, and weapons charges. Among those counts, allegations that Young Thug possessed an illegal machine gun, a MAC-10, and other firearms despite his felon status. Co-defendant gunner Sergio Kitchens was arrested days later. He would eventually take a plea deal and be released before the main trial began. Others caught up in the indictment included Delmonte Kendrick, known as Yak Gotti, Shannon Stillwell, and dozens of other alleged YSL members. Prosecutors framed this as one of the most significant gang prosecutions in Atlanta history. Fulton County D. Fannie Willis, who would later become famous for a separate high-profile RICO case, personally oversaw the filing. The theory: YSL is a criminal enterprise, Young Thug is its leader, and years of violence and drug trafficking in Atlanta's communities. They pointed to rap lyrics as evidence of gang affiliation, argued that songs glorified real crimes, and at the foundation of their case, Kenneth Copeland's testimony, his recorded interviews from 2015, his claimed first-hand knowledge of YSL's criminal operations.
YSL's founders were Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, a.k.a. Slime.
Rapper Young Thug was front and center today for the start of jury selection in the Young Slime Life RICO trial. 14 defendants facing trial listened this afternoon as their indictment was read aloud to 200 potential jurors. The defendants maintain YSL is simply a record label, and alleged prosecutors are targeting them for their lyrics, which often describe violence in the Cleveland Avenue neighborhood. The judge reading to the potential jurors the criminal charges the defendants face. They began with a bit of a hitch. Because of the size of the jury pool and the number of defendants, the courtroom could not accommodate the large.
Also today, jury selection continues in the YSL RICO trial. We just checked in to get a progress report as this process now enters its 4th month.
Ooh, man. You believe that? So, do you think YSL is more than what rap is? It's really a place where criminals go, make their money, and make things happen for them, live a life. You're snitching on yourself and your songs. I mean, or is there a possibility that they said some things in a song and that eventually the action happened? Because I've seen people make a song and just putting things in a song about an individual they don't like or what they would do to the individual. But unfortunately, the act takes place. They never thought it would, but unfortunately it does. And now the song is held against them. Now, I can say that because I know people who made songs and they said things and they haven't done it, but it was a threat. So one day, eventually you say something, and because of that song was made or what you said, you have to be very careful of what you say, especially as rappers, but they're learning that. That's why the new rappers are turning things around so it won't hit them like it would if they had sung a song and put certain words into their song. So they really are learning from their mistakes. And those are the ones who are surviving. A lot of rappers are now changing the negativity of their songs. They're trying to put positive words in it, eliminate some words that can cause you to go out there and hurt another individual. Now, will these songs be strong? Time will tell. But for some reason, they're mad at these rappers. They're complaining. And what the lady, I understand where she's coming from, because I heard about it. They say she's after everybody. Right? But are you after the problem with a solution? Or are you just trying to sweep the problem under the rug? Because it's easy to sweep the problem under the rug. But the solution to solving that problem is where you need to be. If not, Atlanta will always have or be Atlanta. And just the fact that the music industry is stronger is in Atlanta is why all eyes are on Atlanta. Does it make sense? If I have a lot of people involved into a tent. And in this tent, we're singing a certain song. It's going to bring everybody to that tent because they like the song. It's bringing everybody to Atlanta. It's even bringing the negativity to Atlanta. That's why they say people from other states were involved with the Atlanta. People from Los Angeles. That's far. Are making themselves a name in Atlanta. So it seems like you're either going to waste the court's money and time. They're going to receive money. But how are they going to remedy the situation? Because at some point in time, you're going to have to ask yourself, was that the right move to do? It's not going to stop the situation. If I can throw a lot of people into jail, but what is the answer? How am I trying to change to make sure? Because I heard about this lady. People are giving her reputation, but God is telling me, if he forgave you, he got to forgive them. In order to forgive them, you got to know how to make things happen. You got to know how to what? Remedy the situation. Just don't throw it under the rug. Just don't throw them in jail. What are you doing? Because that 5 years old that they were teaching the street sign would have never had that young baby's attention if it wasn't affecting the environment. If it hasn't already affected the environment. So you're looking at them, I'm looking at her. Because I don't want to be anybody's tools to make things happen. I don't want to be used by. Now she's the framework. She's doing the work. But she hasn't said anything about to remedy the problem. I hear her, but what are you going to do to remedy the problem? That's my reaction. What are they doing? Because cops, as you notice, cops are being, they ain't saying much about the cops. She ain't saying much about the cops. And I know they let a lot of cops off the police force in Georgia. But they ain't saying nothing about that. That was involved with the criminals. I don't want to hear part of the story. I want to hear the story. I want to hear what you're going to do. And I want to hear how you're going to remedy the situation. Because the same way these boys went into jail, next, if they're not committing crimes already, follow their place. They're giving her a good name and sending people to jail. But what are you doing to remedy the issue? That's the question. Until next time, I want to BSdiscover. This is enough of this video. You know, I can extend it. I'm going to put a link of the video inside, but I already know the questions that are on your mind. Because you got children. Regardless of the fact, people have children. And we all want what's best for our children. And sometimes your own family member will be put into a situation if you don't understand the situation. You got cops whose family members are involved with gangsters. You got criminal lawyers who are involved with gangsters, judges. I see you putting them away. But what is the final way? What else input is she giving besides putting them away? Until next time, you find me an answer. Write something down in the comment. Let me know. What do you feel? Because I don't want to sweep anything under the rug. It's easy. I just throwing everybody in jail. It's like slavery time. Let's talk to her about that. They threw us under the rug. And they throwing us under the rug now. And they're using certain people of our own color. Are you hearing me? To do it. Figure that out. Until next time, that's where the spirit is. You run with it. BSN Discover.